Hey friends, it's Len here at 1A Auto. Today I'm working on a 2013 Ford F250. This is the 6.7 diesel. I'm going to be doing a starter. It's going to be a fairly easy / semi-difficult job. It's really not too bad. The hardest part is just getting the starter kind of weaseled out. But you can do it. I can do it too. And we'll get it done together. Anyway, if you need any parts, you can always check us out at 1aauto.com. Thanks. So, I've got the hood up. That was easy enough. I'm going to remove the negative battery terminal. Something to keep in mind when you do that is that you're going to lose all your presets on your radio and have to reset your clock. And if you have a security system on your radio, well, that could cause an issue as well. So keep that in mind. But when you're doing the starter, you're going to be removing a positive power wire off of it. When you remove that, if you happen to touch it against anything else that's metal that might ground it out, you're going to get arcing. So by removing the negative, we're going to avoid that situation. So remove the negative. Just going to loosen it up with our 8mm. We're going to get it down and out of the way. That's good enough. We know that it can't pop up and make connection while we're underneath the vehicle. Now we're going to come over here to the other side. This vehicle has 2 batteries in it, so you want to be aware of that. I'm just going to loosen the negative battery terminal. Same thing like the other side. See if I can lift it. Get that down and out of the way. Here we are. Let's move along. So now we're going to go ahead and take off this center cover. I'm just going to put anything really, but I've got a rag. I'm just going to go on against the wheel so I can pry without scuffing up my wheel. Set this aside. We'll use our 21mm. If you have access to an air gun, you can do that. Just going to zip these off. See if we can get this wheel to break free. There it is. Get our last lug nut off. Now we'll get the wheel off. Okay everyone, so we got the wheel off now. The starter is located right back here. It's very easy to get to once you get this out of the way. So what I would like to do is I would like to take out this 8mm head, this one up in here, and then there's one all the way over here. Okay? Take those right out. I'm going to take out this one right here. That's a 5.5mm. I believe you could also use a 1/4 inch. This one, that one doesn't look like it had anything. You don't really probably need to go too much further. You could do this one if you wanted to, but essentially we just want to kind of pull it out and away. If you wanted to, you could take the whole thing right out, just push out this push clip. Seems like a little bit extra effort. Just take out what you need to, pull it out of the way. You'll be able to get a clear view of what's going on in there, and you'll get some work done. Let's move along. All right, so here's what our new starter looks like. I matched it up. It's the same as the old one. There's going to be 3 mounting holes, one here, and there's a threaded one here. Okay? So when this is up inside the vehicle, which would generally be speaking like this, you've got one bolt hole that's going to be here, pretty easy to get to. This one is on the opposite side of the solenoid, so you're going to need a special tool, maybe a swivel or whatnot, to get to it. And then this one right here comes from the back side, from the transmission side, through the bell housing, and then it comes through, I believe, the engine, and then into this. Okay? It's threaded. This right here is where your wiring is going to go to. You've got a 15mm nut and a 10mm nut. Both of them come with new locking washers, so that's great. So yeah, now you know what to look for. The hardest part's just going to be getting this one back here, but you can do it. So let's move on. All right, so I'm going to take a 15mm wrench or whatever you happen to have. I'm just going to try to take off this nut right here. Slippery. Once I get it removed, I'll move on to the next wire. Getting it by hand here, it's almost off. There we are. My 15. Set that aside so I can find it. Now I'm gonna take the wire off and check it out. Make sure it doesn't look like it's corroded or rotted or ready to fall apart. This one looks decent. We'll clean it up later. Now I'm going to remove this nut right up here. This is for the little wire, okay? I'll find the size for that and we'll move along. So now I'm going to remove the lower wire, the little one. I'm using a 10mm. Turning it to the left, of course. side. Take that wire off, take a peek at it. Looks pretty good. It's not corroded or rotted, falling apart. I'd say it's definitely clean it and reuse it. Perfect. It's always a special treat. Okay, so now we need to remove the mounting bolts for this. There's one located right up on the back side of this, right here. It's right there. And there's one right here. And then there's one located that's easier to get from the bottom. They should be 13mm bolts. So let's grab that and we'll move along. Okay, I'm gonna start with the hardest bolt to get to first, or what looks like it's gonna be the hardest bolt to get to first. I'm gonna use this setup right here, just a swivel with a 13mm extension and a long ratchet, okay? You can use whatever you've got access to. If you have a swivel socket, that would probably come in handy as well. Sometimes, there we go. Just gonna turn that to the left now, it's nice and loose. Okay, holy cow, there's my bolt. There's what my bolt looks like. I've got 2 more of these, I'm sure, or something like them, that I'm gonna try to get now. So I'm gonna go for this one. 13mm still, if I can get it on there. Yep. Almost. There it is, bolt number 2. Looks like it's about the same as the first. Now the last one I'm gonna grab from underneath. There should only be 3 mounting bolts. So we've got 2 out of 3. We've got both our wires off. So once we get this one loose and out, the starter should be ready to come out. So here's our last bolt head, 13mm. It comes through the transmission housing, through the engine, and then into the starter. Screws into there, okay? So it's a pretty long bolt, probably about that long. Let's see if I can get it off of here. All right, I'm gonna see if I can get this on here. There's our last bolt. All right, starter should be all set to move around a little bit. Very cool. All right, look at that. Somebody left their socket up there. Mine now. Okay, so now we're just gonna weasel this out of here. So here we go. This can be done. It just takes a little bit of finagling. I'm just gonna try to wiggle it around, see if we can get the back as far towards the motor mount as possible. And then I'm just gonna try to twist it and lift it up and out. That's my plan, at least. Whether or not it works, who knows. I'm just gonna see about pulling on these prongs that hold it along the grooves there. See if I can just slide it off. It's just a little locking clip. Should just want to slide out. Getting close. There it is. Just take a peek at it. Looks good. Not very corroded or anything. It's always good. Okay. So here we go again. There we go. See if we can pull it up and out of here. There it is. Now you've seen it done. I wish you luck. All right, So the next thing that I'm going to do is while the starter's out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean up those wires, okay? The areas where they're going to be touching up against the starter. It's very important to make sure that you have a great connection there. You don't want any dirt, debris, corrosion, rust, nothing, okay? It needs to be very clean. You can use a little bit of sandpaper, you can use a little brush, or you can just use something like this. This is just a scuffing pad, and I'm just going to clean it all off. I'll get a nice shiny surface on there, and then we'll go ahead and get the starter in and wire it up. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take off my nut, my locking washer there, and the same thing on the small side. There we are. Oops, come on. There we go, now we got everything. Perfect. We'll set this aside. Now we're going to finagle this starter in there. So here we go. See if I can get the starter up and in. Flashlight. There we go. Just put that over there for now. I really can't see. Okay. I'm going to grab the flashlight and we'll continue. Okay, fell right in. That's something nice. Too bad it didn't fall right out. I'm going to grab my bolts. I've got my two upper bolts. They're both the same. I can't mix those up. That's always nice. See if I can get it started in. If you need to, you can use your socket or whatever you want to do. 13 millimeter, right? Okay. So here we go. I've got my 13 and my swivel extensions and all that set up on here. Just gonna go ahead and see if I can get it turned in. Let's see. That one doesn't look like it wants to go yet. I probably have to have the starter in a little closer. So I'll do this one down here. I'm just gonna get them close because I still have that bottom bolt to start in as well. You never want to tighten any bolts completely until you have all of your bolts started. It's pretty good practice at least. Like I said, that guy up top, or bolt up top, is the hardest one. So, let's see if I can get my ratchet on there. See if I can drive it in a little bit. And then we'll go ahead down to the bottom and we'll get that bolt started. Get it on there. A little 16th of a turn at a time here. Okay, that's started in pretty good. Let's go grab that bottom bolt. We'll get that one started and then we can worry about tightening everything right up. So here we go. It's our bottom bolt. Just gonna get it in and started. You can wiggle the starter around still. It's part of the reason why we left it loose is so we can line this bolt up, right? Once we're sure we got it all the way in, you can go ahead and snug it up. You can do the others. If you wanted to, you could use your, definitely not a 1/2-inch gun. You don't want to break the bolt or break your transmission. But if you had maybe a 3/8 or an air ratchet, you could go with that. There we go. 3/8 of my 13. Go. I'll snug that up with my ratchet in a minute. I'm gonna do the other two first. So here we go. I got a little air ratchet with some swivels and extensions on here. Snug. Very Very nice. Get this all off of here real quick. We'll go ahead and do the other one. All right. Let's go ahead and tighten up that lower one. Get my 13 on there. Cool. Now I'm just going to snug them up with a regular ratchet. Make sure they're nice and snug. All right, got my ratchet. Slips off, that's okay. Make sure it's nice and snug, okay? Definitely don't want it loosening up. These engines have, you know, they shake around a lot. So, yeah, that one's good. Get this one. Tight. Get our last one. Tight. All three are tight. Let's wire this puppy back up. We'll put our other wire on there, and then we'll get the battery connected and we'll give it a try before we go ahead and put everything else together. All right, here we go. So first I'm going to put on the little wire. I'm just going to put it right over the stud. There it is. And then I've got my lock washer and my nut. I'll put both those on the stud. Very easy to over tighten these and break them. You know, you just finished tightening up the mounting bolts. You're feeling a little strong. These don't need to be tightened up very much, okay? Just pretty much tighten it so it bottoms out, and then that should be enough. But use your best judgment, because there is a lock washer there. So, you know, just because it stops with your fingers doesn't mean it's going to stop with a ratchet or whatever you've got. You could use a wrench if you have that. This one here. Check it. Nice and tight. The wire's not moving around. I'm gonna grab our big wire now. Put it on the starter. I'm gonna grab my new nut and new locking washer. These on. Sizes may vary for these nuts, so I could tell you that this one's a 16, but does that mean anything to what you're doing? I couldn't tell you. Yours may be different, so just to let it be said, I'm using a 16, you might be using something else. Once again, once you feel it kind of bottom out, doesn't feel like it wants to go anymore, just give it maybe a teeny bit, and then that should be good. Okay, we'll just make sure that the wires are not touching each other down at the connection area, right? That's very important. Looks good. Perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna reach around and see if I can find that wire that I disconnected. It fell down somewhere, so you have to bear with me. There it is. Cool. We got two little connectors on there. Two connectors in this. Just line those up. Push it on. Those little locking tabs as far down in there as you can. Grab my flashlight. I get this pressed in as far as I can. I know that my two wires are tight. I tighten my mounting bolts. Let's move along. So now it's time to connect the batteries. There's two batteries. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, I'm going to connect it on here. There we are. Tighten it up. Come on. Make sure that I can't move. Looking good. We'll go over to the other side. Put that one on. Plenty on there. Try to get it down as far as possible. You can loosen it up. Try to pry it if you want to, separate right there. Whatever you need to do. I like to have it down a little further than this, so I'm gonna grab something. I'm gonna push it down. Okay, just gonna take a little socket, put it over it. I'm gonna give it a little bonk. Bonk, bonk, bonk. That's my thing. There we go, down a little better. Just gonna tighten this up. This side right here, for my application, is an 11 millimeter. Feels pretty good. Trying to move it. It's going nowhere. Perfect. Let's grab the keys and spark it up. So here we go. I got the key. I'm gonna put it in. Wait a second for everything to spark up. You know how diesels are. Okay. Glow plugs stay there ready. Beautiful. Let's do it one more time real quick. Starts. All right, let's finish this puppy up. So here we go. I'm just gonna leave my little tie down thing here that I had holding this up. Just tied up in here. This isn't really part of your truck, I'm sure. Somebody just did some kind of aftermarket lighting thing, and I don't think it worked out the way that they wanted it to, so they just left the wires. So we'll get that up in here, and then we'll move along. There we go. Wearing our safety glasses, of course. We get a lot of debris falling down. Cool. I've got 3 8 millimeter head bolts, giant washers on them. One goes up here. Start it in right there. One goes up here. Just have to line up the hole. Oh, looks like it's actually pretty good. Oh, surprise, surprise. And then this one, right here. We're gonna leave them loose for now, because we're gonna continue on, and we're gonna put in a couple bolts going around this. These ones are much smaller. These are 5.5 millimeter. I believe you could probably use a 1/4 inch as well, whatever you're into. You do you, boo-boo. These ones are a little bit harder to grab onto. I'm gonna grab my tool, I'll start them in that way. Just gonna pull it in. I'll tighten them all down once I get them all started, right? Started. This one right here. It's the last one, so. All right, I'm gonna grab my 8 millimeter. We'll tighten these up. We'll get the wheel up on here with our 21, torque them down to 165. Maybe I'll grab a faster gun for this. We've got time for that. Cool. All right, so we got all these all done in. Looks pretty great. Let's move along. Okay, here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get our big old heavy wheel up onto here. It's important to remember, you don't wanna lift anything with your back if you can avoid it, right? Don't go like this, try to lift it up, you're gonna hurt yourself. I wanna live a long, long time. I wanna be able to move around. So I'm gonna try to work smarter, not harder. I'm gonna put my leg up against it right here. I'm just gonna roll it right up my leg. Then I'm gonna use my ab muscles, lift it right up. Easy peasy. I don't know how heavy this thing is, but it's definitely gonna be heavier than a 45 plate at the gym. Let's get all these started on here, and then we'll bottom them out. Then we're gonna go ahead and torque them down in a star pattern. Or I guess this would be a crisscross pattern. It's not really a star, maybe a snowflake. So here we go. I'm gonna go boom, 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 and then so on, okay? See how it was kind of kinked in a little bit? If I would have went here, then here, then here, this whole part of the wheel would have been sucked in and this part would have still been out. I could have been tightening and thinking that I had it all nice and snug. They're all perfectly the same, but really the wheel hadn't even pulled up against the rotor at that point, which would have come, you know, it would have been a big issue driving down the road. It would have loosened up at some point. Your wheel would be wobbling and eventually you'd probably break some lug studs, and I don't want to talk about the rest, but you can imagine. So anyway, 1, 1, 1, 1, here we go. See, look how far it pulled in. Start it again. There we go. Now I'm going to torque them down. 165 with my 21 millimeter socket. Okay, time to torque these puppies down. Let's do our snowflake again. All right, start here, up top, down bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go crisscross. 165. All right, I'm just gonna hit them again. I know it's pretty much settled in, so I'll just go around in a circle at this point. Cool. Get our center cover on. Use our rubber mallet. There we are. Easy peasy.
Thanks for watching. Visit 1aauto.com, your place for DIY auto repairs, for great parts, great service, and more content.